Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a watercolor today. If you like this video, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up so you can see more content from me. And if you want to see more of my work, you can look me up on Instagram at Lishandre. So like I said, I am doing a watercolor today. And as you can tell, I did not draw anything out. I didn't start with pencil and paper. I just jumped right in with the paint and watercolor, which is really, really scary. But I do like this method because it's kind of like a little freeing and you can kind of like experiment a little bit with it. So what I kind of start doing is I kind of like I work wet on wet if I'm not drawing it out because I'm not trying to get like precise things. I kind of just want to experiment a little bit. And so what wet on wet is, it's when you have a wet surface. So you're going to wet it all down, what you see me do at the very beginning of this video. And then you're going to add wet paint to that. And it kind of makes the edges a lot softer. It blends a little smoother and things like that. But it also lets the water do like all the work. Like it just kind of pushes the paint in different areas. And after I have like all the water down, I go ahead and kind of like plan out where I want like my eye sockets at and my nose and mouth and things like that. And so I kind of basically start with kind of like 3 little splotches insert like where you have 2 next to each other for the eyes and then 1 below where the nose is at. And it takes a little practice to kind of get it right where you want it at, because the first time I did it, my eyes were super far apart and it was like, he looks like an alien, but that's okay. And even here, I can kind of, like, if you see me earlier, I kind of moved my nose up because it was like too far down. But I'm just going in with one color right now, and I am like going in, like making it darker, and I'm adding a little bit of detail, but not like too much detail. And you can see that I kind of keep going back and forth and adding the same color to make it darker, because with watercolor, you have to really work, well, for me, it's easy to work from light to dark. So just kind of building up those layers. So kind of think like, it's kind of like how you, like, I guess, I don't know. I've never graffitied before, but I see they use like these stencils, and they'll like put one color down with one stencil, and then they take another stencil and do it. And it's kind of like that. So they're not doing the whole painting, the whole graffiti art like with one setting. They're taking one color and then going to the next color, and it's kind of like building it up with layers. Well, I think it looks pretty good. I can see that one of my eyes is kind of big though, but I'm not mad about it. I kind of like it. And again, I like that it kind of like makes you a little free and you can experiment, explore a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be I don't feel constricted. Like I want this to be like this and this to be like that. It's really easy to like work really tight and feel very overwhelmed and stressed when you want it to be like perfect. This kind of gives you that freedom to not like be so sucked into that. However, if that's your thing, then it's really hard to get away from that, because I didn't start doing watercolor. I started the first like set of paint that I started using was actually oil paint. And if you ever work with oil paint, it's very different than watercolor. It's not so much like, oil paint is a little bit more forgiving than watercolor is, because you can just paint on top of something if you make a mistake, or wipe it out and then like come back to it and paint on top of it. Watercolor, you can't really do that with, okay? There's no wiping it away. Like if it's there, it's there, unless you're working really light, which is like usually people try to work light and then go darker. And the reason they do that is because they want one bit of those colors, because watercolor is translucent, so you can see through the colors, and so you want to see those colors through it. And so they'll build up a lot of layers, where oil paint isn't translucent. I mean, you can work with it translucent. I knew a girl in my class who did, and it looked beautiful. Like it looked like watercolor, really. But typically, like, it's oil paint's more opaque, so it's just like a solid color. You're not going to see the white underneath it unless you're doing like a glazing or something like that. Oh, sorry guys, my nose is running. Oh my gosh, I hate when my nose runs. As you can see, I added my apples again because it's kind of like this reoccurring theme, and I thought, let's see what we'll do with it. I kind of feel like I should like bring some more of that green down. I don't know yet. And you can see I'm going back over with a darker color, and I'm using like a blue, I think a Prussian blue. I hardly ever use black for like darker areas. I typically like go towards like a blue, ultramarine blue, purple, or even like a umber or a burnt sienna. Yeah, something like that. But I don't usually use black. I might even use gray sometimes, but yeah, I'm using blue here. I'm sorry, my nose is like, it's so annoying. So I'm going ahead and putting in the color for the pupils, but like, I don't know if I like the pupils or if I liked it better before, actually, when it didn't have any. I think that's like the hardest part in art, is like finding where you should stop at, because it could be like really, really good, right where you think you're not done yet, but it's like, no, don't touch me anymore, I'm done. And then there's sometimes you're like, oh, I'm done. And it's like, no, you need something else. Definitely need something else. Sorry, my hand's in my way. I'm just like working on the eyes though. So I'm using like a umber color for the eyes and the circles. And then I'm going to go around it, and I'm using that Prussian blue again on the edges to kind of create that lid shadow, because our eyeballs aren't white. I mean, you might see like a little white, so they're white, but there's like a cast shadow from the eyelids, and so you don't want it to be like this white. You want it to get like a little darker too. But I'm not going for like a super realistic style, because her face is like pretty much floating. She doesn't have a neck, and there's apples on top of her head. It's not like a thing. Ooh, I like that blue. I like nice. Yeah, a little more blue somewhere. Yeah, there. Ooh, yeah. So she has a mustache now. Add a couple more apples at the top. And sometimes I don't like just do like little brush strokes. Sometimes I just kind of dab my colors on top of each other, because it kind of creates its own texture, especially since it was kind of already wet, and working on wet, it kind of just like spreads itself out. It kind of blends together by itself without me having to do all this extra work. And usually you want to leave some white for the white highlights, but I'm just going to use some white paint, and it's gouache, so that's an opaque paint too. But they don't usually have like white for watercolor. You just like leave the white area. You have to kind of work like negative, like backwards in a sense. All right, this is the piece, you guys. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching the video. I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You guys have a great week. See you next week.